Hey everybody, Dr. Chris here. Thanks for joining me as usual. Today we're talking about stress and weight, okay? Now you guys know that stress affects everything, right? Negatively. For the most part, we'll touch on that though. So what I'm going to talk about today is how stress and weight go together and how weight can increase stress and lead to more weight gain, and then how managing your stress can improve your weight, okay? So you've heard of the flight or fight response, right? So you're in the woods, you see a bear, it's going to eat you. Your adrenal glands spit out all sorts of sympathomimetic signals, adrenaline you might call it, right? Your heart rate goes up, you breathe better, your eyes focus, you actually improve your immune system short term, right? Functions a little bit better, your mind's a little sharper, you're a little more focused, okay? All these are good things for getting rid of that bear, getting away from that bear before it eats you, okay? But then you got to settle down, all right? And we've talked about this before in the setting of exercise, right? You stress your body while you're exercising, and then you got to relax to let your body recover, okay? So that's one thing. Short-term stress, for the most part, good as long as you have sufficient recovery, okay? There's some caveats, but overall, that's the situation, okay? Now we get into the submit and stay, completely different situation. This is where you have the stress and it doesn't go away, okay? Or it's so repeated at such a frequency that you don't have adequate time to recover, okay? This is a whole different pathway in your brain. All right, there's the hypothalamus. If you've listened to my hormone series, you know that a lot of weight signals and hormones and things like that go through or signal the hypothalamus in the brain and regulate a lot of these things. So the hypothalamus is tremendously important in weight regulation and secondarily in behavior related to eating, okay? So if you're chronically stressed or frequently stressed, the hypothalamus is more involved. You get hypothalamic inflammation in your brain. Okay, it just sounds bad, and it is bad. All right, your immune system works less well. Okay, over time, your white blood cell count can go up, suggesting full body systemic inflammation. All right, you might not sleep as well. Secondarily, what happens is that the hypothalamus, these changes also affect other parts of the brain, okay? It gets into the limbic system. So the limbic system is involved in emotion, okay? So people who are chronically stressed are more likely to be emotional eaters. They have this feeling that, hey, I gotta eat to feel better, okay? You know what I'm talking about, right? Many people have a little bit of that, but if you're chronically stressed, you're gonna be much more predisposed to something like that, okay? And then, again, we've talked about this in my willpower talk. The frontal lobe right here, the executive decision maker, gets weaker, all right? So the cerebrum gets involved. Also, when you have this chronic stress, the executive function that says, hey, there's a cupcake there, my emotion, my limbic system says I want to eat it, but my executive function says, nah, I probably shouldn't for this reason or that reason. That executive function gets worse, gets sleepy, you're more likely to eat that, okay? Now the problem with all this is that it kind of feeds on itself, right? So you're more emotional eating, you have less willpower, and so you eat less healthily, especially tends to be unhealthy foods, of course, not just more, but hyper palatable foods. We call them the high fat, high carb combinations like cheeseburgers and sweets and ice cream and all that sort of stuff, or later at night. And then that negatively feeds, you collect more adipose cells, more fat cells, and that further negatively affects the hypothalamus, limbic system, and the executive function, okay? So this all sounds very negative, and it kind of is, but at least you have a reason, an underlying reason for some of what you're feeling, right? It's not just, hey, I gotta work harder, right? No. That's, I mean, yes, you gotta work a little bit, but that's just focusing on the executive function. Yeah, you wanna be vigilant, do your part to wake that guy up so you can pay attention to things, but a lot of it's happening in the limbic and hypothalamic system also. Not that that gives you an excuse, but don't beat yourself up saying, I'm trying really hard and I just can't get it to work, okay? You do your part to wake up the executive who's monitoring things, and then realize these other things can be addressed other ways, okay? And what I'm talking about today is minimizing your stress, okay? That's hard to do. When you look at the tree of all the leaves, of all the things that can cause weight issues, so many things, right? Not enough sleep, food, not enough moving around, pain, this, that, all that other stuff. often the trunk is stress. Okay, not always, and everyone's a little bit different. You're all your own unique little flowers and trees. But for a lot of people, the trunk is stress and mood issues. Okay, you go after that, a lot of the things get better. Interestingly, one of the medications that we use to help with weight is also used for mood issues. So maybe there's some overlap there. So interesting stuff. But the point is, stress causes problems. Now you know why it causes problems. And anything you can do to go after the stress component in a healthy way, of course, can help your weight loss efforts, okay? Or even maintaining a healthy weight. Okay, so I don't want you to ignore the stress part. I don't want you to ignore depression, anxiety, all of that stuff and think it's separate from the weight issues. It absolutely is related for almost everyone who has issues with these things, okay? And so whether you need to see a therapist, you need to talk to your physician about managing the stress, you need to be more mindful and reduce how busy you are. So take time, rest at home, take some deep breaths, work on your stress, okay? And then secondarily, it will help the other effort that you're putting forth to maintain or get to the weight that you want to be at. All right? Questions, let me know, or else we'll talk next time. Dr. Chris.
Be sure to schedule your free 30-minute initial phone consultation by sending me an email or by visiting our website at refinedwellnessconsulting.com.